I have been into K-pop going on 8 years at this point. I will not be defending myself. A lot has changed. I'm barely into K-pop anymore. I just kind of peek in to see what's going on, and then I'll find some songs I like, and then I'll just step out. Aside from like the older groups that I did stan and my Stockholm Syndrome groups, I'm barely as invested. I just think being a grown-ass 22-year-old man stanning a bunch of teenagers is a little bit weird, so I avoid doing it. Or at least the standing part. I'll casually listen, but we're not gonna stan teenagers as a grown-ass adult. I just think it's weird. Anyways, there's this concept in K-pop called generations, where like after a certain amount of time, the generation of K-pop groups changes. For instance, like SES was a first-generation K-pop group. Big Bang is a second-generation K-pop group, debuted in 2005. Red Velvet debuted in 2014, 15, I forgot which year it was. Would be a third generation, so on and so forth. Previously, because it's logical, I thought generations were done by decade. And this was up until about 2 years ago or so that I thought this. I thought that the 90s were the first generation, the 2000s, second generation, 2010s, third generation, and then the 2020s would have been the fourth generation. That makes sense to me. That, has some logical ground to stand on. It's predictable. It doesn't make me want to lock myself in a meat freezer and cry, Then around 2 or so, maybe 1 year ago, I was informed that this is not right. And that at a certain point, the generations came about, how long the typical K-pop group contract lasts. When, the first groups of that generation start to disband because the contracts are up, the men have to go to the military, things of that like, which is about 7 years. Shook my worldview a little bit, but I was like, okay, you know what? That is still logical. That still makes sense. And I can, get out of my rigid old ways of apparently wrong thinking, and I can adopt this new way of thinking and just accept that Idol is apparently a fourth generation group when I previously thought otherwise. Whatever, I'll survive. Then the unacceptable happens. Something I need to put my foot down about. The first two thoughts that I had about what constitutes as a K-pop generation. Logical. They go by years, they're predictable, they make sense. They don't make me want to walk into moving traffic. And then, motherfucking.net walks into the picture with all of their vote falsification scandals. And in an effort to market their new project boy group, where they probably still fucked with the votes, by the way. If you trust Mnet, you're naive. After what they did to Samuel Kim, no, we don't trust Mnet. They walk in and they go, ZB1 or Zero Base 1 is now the marker of 5th generation K-pop. Excuse me? We aren't at the 7-year mark yet. Sit your ass down right now. If I am going to concede and say 4th generation K-pop started in 2018, then we are going to 2025 with this shit, not 2023. That is only 5 years. You have not hit the 7-year mark yet. How dare you? And what is worse, you all fell for it. You all went, oh, this marketing tactic by evil corporation Mnet? Oh yeah, they're right. It is 5th generation K-pop now. I'm flabbergasted, confused, and full of ire. But Nicholas, it's not a big deal. You're right. In the grand scheme of things, it doesn't matter that much, and I shouldn't be getting so worked up over it. I am a self-proclaimed massive hater. And this is how I deal with things that perturb me. And the thing is, I don't think I would be as perturbed by this situation if the community as a whole decided that 5th generation has started without the interference of an evil corporation. You guys just let evil vote-rigging, Samuel Kim dooming corporation Mnet decide when fifth generation is for the sake of marketing their new Project Boy group that was probably also created through vote rigging. Bootlickers, all of you, it doesn't make sense. Why has fifth generation started? The vibes? Are the vibes off? Is that what's going on? What constitutes as a change of generation? I need you to define it for me. We can't just be throwing a dart at a dartboard when the moon is full and the frogs are croaking at least 6 times outside. I need to know what the logical explanation is. Nicholas, there is no logic. Walk into the ocean. I don't care about it's subjective. Walk into the ocean. And once again, I wouldn't be as worked up about it if there was some logical reason as to why, we're starting fifth generation, apparently. There isn't. Some evil corporation said it's fifth generation to market their new boy group, and you guys went, okay, and moved on. I am saying that it is still fourth generation until 2025. What's Mnet gonna do, huh? Are they gonna do an evil boy group creating show in the United States where they'll evil edit me? They can't stop me. In protest, I will not be saying it's fifth generation until 2025, at which point I will probably have lost interest in K-pop forever. The point is, all of you are cowards. You cannot stand up against evil corporation that just decides to make it fifth generation because they say so. Because they want to make their group so interesting and cool. Walk into the ocean. I don't even dislike Zero Base One. That album kind of fucked. I'm not saying they're fifth generation just because Mnet told me to. They still need to repent for their sins, for what they did to Samuel Kim, Produce 101, Season 2. They must repent. I will not stand for this.